Welcome to what in effect is day 2, week 2 of the Beach House build with regards to the solar. So sorry I've not posted. You're going to see a difference between this video and the last one. Unfortunately I had video problems, so I started recording the start of our solar and there's been a bit of a gap in between, and I'll fill you in a bit more on that a bit later on. But in the meantime, what's happened is we've got all the solar products here, like I've said in the previous video, and the first set of panels have been going upstairs, and we've pretty much made a big dent on the install downstairs. So forgive me, there's a bit of a gap between the last time I filmed on the solar and now. So if I do duplicate any of the actual information already covered, accept my apologies for that. Grey moment and a bit of time in between. So what I want to do in a minute is I want to take you upstairs and show you the elements that have been laid down where the panels are concerned. I'm not too sure, and I'm sure that we didn't cover the solution that I've gone with for the roof. The guy that's doing the solar, amazing guy, brilliant. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to carry on the way it is, and I'll certainly put his details below and recommend. But what I've done is I've brought in a bit of my own preference as to what I want to do. So what we've actually done is we've actually gone with these blocks. These blocks are from Preconco. They're 6-inch by standard size, and it just means that, one, we can keep the height down on the roof. So the blocks themselves are going to allow it being fixed or glued to the roof. And then we've got an aluminium racking that's going to allow it being on that. Now, normally you'd mount that racking on the top, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the racking mounted on the side to keep the height down. What I want to make sure I avoid is wind that comes from that side, which is north-northeast, coming along and getting underneath the panels. So if I can actually have all of the panels racked onto the side of the actual blocks, then I keep the height down, which means we should actually be able to avoid the wind and creating a sail, if you like, which is what will happen. These panels are massive, as you can see the size of them, and what we don't want to do is allow the air to get underneath them, because before you know it, we're going to be lifting the house off the ground. So anyway, the blocks obviously been delivered. Hi to Derek, by the way. Derek is the guy at Preconco that's looked after us. Good guy from New Zealand, if anyone wants his contact details. And they make those blocks. They've not made them special for me. They actually make them in stock. So they weren't too expensive, but they weren't cheap. But obviously the solution is to go and buy standard 6-inch breeze blocks with the holes in the side, but then you can't fix into them. So I wanted to physically be able to fix into them. So as a result of that, I had to go with a solid block. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up on our scaffolding, and I'll show you what's been done upstairs on the panels so far. And then what I'll also do is take you downstairs and show you where we are at the moment, what we've had installed in the basement. So bear with me a second. Okay, so welcome to the roof. So what we've done in the meantime is we put another, let me get down because the wind's quite heavy today. What I've had done is I've had another coat of Tundra, which is a roof rubber, a silicone-based roof rubber, put onto the roof in the meantime. And then what the solar company did, they actually ground down on the floor itself to get down to the concrete, and they epoxied the blocks straight to the floor. And then what I've got them to do is to cover the actual blocks themselves with Tundra. So I'll spin it around and show you what I mean. Okay, so each one of the blocks has been laid down where they need them to be. And as you can see, the aluminium racking is fixed directly into the block itself. So the blocks are epoxied down, a twin pack epoxy, and then the whole block has been covered in Tundra. Now I didn't want gaps all the way around it, I wanted it like that, so that we stop moisture and water getting underneath the block. So I wasn't here to make sure that that was actually done properly. So, but fair play to them, they got it done. I really need Sherwin to be going over and making sure that that is all done right. And then what we're doing is we're going to do the garage. We weren't initially going to do the garage. We were going to leave these off. But at the moment, it's such a nice space and it's a wasted space. So from our point of view, it's a white roof. Any form of reflection will charge from underneath as well, because obviously they're twin fascia units. And then obviously what we'll do is we'll take a conduit up the wall here and then come over. You see over there, they've made, unfortunately, it's a bit of an eyesore. There's nothing they can really do. They've gone too high with that. I'll show you that in a second. Mainly because they were assuming we're going to be a lot higher off the actual floor than we actually landed up being. So let me go up and I'll show you what I mean. So we've had all these ground in, which I might have recorded before. So the water now runs a lot better. They've made this, which is a bit of an eyesore, but they needed it here because that's where the 4 conduits come from the basement. So it's restricted. If it was over here somewhere or over here, it wouldn't be too bad. But because they really see it from the road, but they were potentially thinking that we were going to be around about sort of 10 to 12 inches off the floor with the panels. And you always want to make sure that these are obviously higher in case the rain goes in. So the biggest problem we've got at the moment is we probably could come down on that by at least 10 to 12 inches now, which means from the road you can't really see it. But now that it's all poured and these are all in it, I don't think there's anything we can do. But anyway, I've got Sherwin to try and finish it off a bit better, so it's sealed, number one, and it's in keeping with the colour. So yeah, that's pretty much where we are. So at the moment, the roof itself hasn't been touched, and the reason why is because we've still got the ponding problems. What we've been doing is focusing on gouging out from the roof a little bit to try and make sure that any water that does land is tapped into and runs away. And as you can see, we've had rain in the last couple of days, there's nothing up here. What that has done is made that gutter start working better, which is because it's never worked. But now we've created a leak downstairs, and there's another video I'm about to upload on that. So we found out that the downstairs gutter is completely sheared off with the weight of the soil downstairs, and the water is technically pouring straight into the basement. But what I do have coming, which is going to create me an absolute monster of a job, is 5 rolls of industrial roof rubber. So it's a white roof rubber. They're 100-foot rolls, and I'm hoping to roll one from that side all the way to that side, and then overlap and overlap and overlap. So eventually the whole roof will be a roof rubber. So if we have any holding water, it doesn't really make any difference. The downside is they're 4,000 pound in weight, which means that obviously we've got 5 of those coming up here. So there's a lot more weight being added, but it's an industrial roof rubber designed to hold water. Now, in an ideal world, what we want to try and do is make sure that any of the actual ponding areas that we have, we get those filled up at the same time. So what we should really be doing is finding some form of level lay. I mean, we did try and put a level lay on here, but the level lay itself just didn't work very well, and there's no exterior level lay in Barbados. I bought some in from England, but we went through it very quickly. So I think if we can try and put the roof rubber down and try and put something down on the floor in the meantime to make sure the ponding is gone, then the roof rubber is designed to hold the water anyway, but in an ideal world there is no water being retained up here either way. But I think worst case scenario, we lay down the roof rubber, we do get a bit of ponding, but the roof rubber holds it anyway. It's just another big job I've got to do now. So, water units, one of them's broken anyway, the furthest one over there, the actual unit blew. So it's been turned off, which means it should just be taken out and shoved in the skip. The other one works absolutely fine, but we've actually got a new water tank going downstairs once the solar's put in anyway. So really what we could do with doing is having those uninstalled and taken away for now, and then we need this whole thing empty to roll this roof rubber out. What you do with the roof rubber is you literally roll a glue onto the floor and you lay the actual roof rubber down, and you go over it with either a roller or a mop or a broom, and the roof rubber sticks to the glue. That's what you do. And then obviously, like a tile, you then lay, you start at the lowest end first, and then you overlap the next one, glue it again. You would roll it out 100 foot, and then you'd halve it. Then you'd roll the glue, roll it over, use the brush, fold it back over again, do the other half, and so on and so forth. So, another big job I could do without doing, and the chance of me finding someone on the island to do it is going to be very slim. However, in the comments below, should you know anybody on the island that would be able to do it, certainly let me know. But any roofing guys out there around the world, ever fancy a trip to Barbados? All Roofing USA, you guys commented, I gave you a message the other day, you joked around saying, we'll come over and sort it for you. Well, I'm at that point now where the roof rubber is going to be here. So if there's anybody out there in the world that thinks they can actually do a roof of this size in roof rubber, that fancies a few deputies or banked beers, then get in touch with me below, that's for sure. But if not, it's going to be another job that me and Sherwin are going to be doing. I mean, we've done most jobs on this so far, so it's a bit of roofing. Can't hurt, can it? So anyway, this is where we are. So at the moment, you know, the panels are in place, and what we've been doing today is having it connected just to get the batteries charging up. So let me get down the ladders and take you downstairs to the basement, and I'll show you where we are so far, what's been connected. And fingers crossed, by tomorrow we should have a bit of charge going in, and we should start seeing a bit of life. This is nothing compared to what we've got going on here. We've got, I don't know how many it is, it's 100 and something panels going on. And how many have we got here? 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 14. We've got 21 panels on here. So there's clearly going to be just under 30 panels on this roof alone. And I think there's another 90 going on here. Quite a few panels. So, but it's a big system. So fingers crossed. Yeah, we'll have some energy going in it tomorrow, and we'll start seeing what 30 panels actually does. But let me take you downstairs and I'll show you the batteries. Okay, welcome to the bunker. Right, I think on the other videos I've already showed you, obviously all these units have been put in. I've showed you the wall mounted. We now have the battery banks in with the central brain sitting in between. We didn't know, but the two battery banks had to be separated to have that put in the middle. So this rack full of batteries had to be moved in one piece, which was a bit of a mission. So yeah, as you can see them there. In fact, let me spin it around, it's a lot easier. Okay, so as you can see, they're pretty much in place now. And we've got a number of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 batteries each side with the mains unit at the top, and then this LED brains that goes with it. There's also another little adapter there somewhere that's got to go in there, which is obviously the remote dialing. All the actual units are in place now. We're using this ATIS. Tell me in the below how you say it. But anyway, that's in place now. There's breakers, there's another breaker, there's a mains on off, and there's another breaker. So we basically got 3 sets of breakers going in, and this pretty much says solar full time, completely off, or back to the grid. So that's pretty much what we're going to put installed. But this system is big enough. If these are fully charged, this system is big enough to be off grid for a good 2 to 3 days. So that will be interesting to see. And as you can see, you can start seeing some of the cabling coming across. Let me get one of the lights on over here. It's censored. As you can see here, that's obviously the main connectors that are going to be coming in from upstairs. So we do need to get that routed a bit better. But they're those 4 conduits I told you about that are upstairs. Look, so they've got some wires being fished in, ready for them to pull down. Then they'll come straight up into here. So that will be filled back in after it's finished. I can't remember what this is for. We found it hanging out the wall. It was purposely hanging out the wall, but it doesn't come up anywhere. So if anyone can think what that would be, let me know. If anyone can remember in the old videos what it was for, let me know. But we've dug it, we've had a quick look, we can't find anything. So we thought it was something to do with the solar, but it clearly can't be, because it's all on the other side. All these cables are now going in, so the batteries are connected up. The units have been fired up today. They got to liaise with China a little bit more on the instructions on how to operate everything. But yeah, some monsters, I think you'll agree. And it'd be quite interesting to see how this works out as well. So yeah, the only concern I do have is my fibre from Digicel is sitting right behind the main power now, which ideally needs to be moved. So let me know in the comments below. That should not be anywhere near power. So I think we need to move this away. I mean, to a point where, I mean, it does come from the garage conduits here. They come through the garage floor, and obviously it comes out of this pipe here. So I think even if we can literally somehow reroute that somehow, I don't know where, but it's obviously going up into the electric room and feeding our comms unit, but it's literally amongst loads of power, and that shouldn't be the case. So let me know in the comments below if you've got any information and knowledge on what we should be doing and whether that should be away from it. It definitely needs to be away from this one, because this is the mains power cable coming into the home, which is huge. So don't put it near power anyway, but you certainly don't put it near a cable that big. So what we need to try and do somehow, I don't know, I mean, either, whatever, it doesn't matter what way you put it, left or right, you're going past all this power. So we'll have to think about that, because we definitely don't want the internet to be affected, that's for sure. But anyway, that's pretty much where we are on that. Battery banks are in. China's been discussing, obviously, the operational side of it with our IT guys, and fingers crossed tomorrow this will be energized back up again, and this will start charging and putting some power through it, and then we'll see how much power 30 panels at the moment we'll be putting in. At the moment, obviously, there's 21, but we'll have the other 7 panels connected tomorrow, and we'll start seeing what sort of impact they can make. So that is it at the moment on the solar side of it. I will update you tomorrow on day 3. I say day 3. They've actually been working on it in total for about probably 10 days. So, you know, breaking through over there, getting the conduit sorted out, getting all this onto the wall. There's been quite a bit of work going on. So I certainly haven't actually covered most of the actual work, but as you can see, some big work going on. So I'll update you tomorrow, hopefully when we get some power going into the unit, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.